I'm Andrea Giles, and you're listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, episode number 39, Values. Hello, and welcome to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, where courageous women learn not only to heal from their spouse's betrayal, but to become the boldest, truest, most decisive, and confident versions of themselves ever. If you know there's more for you than the life you're currently living, but don't quite know how to get there, you are in the right place. Stick around to learn how to create a life that will knock your own socks off. Is it possible? It is, and I'm here to show you how. I'm your host, Andrea Giles. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hey, everybody. I hope you are doing so well this fine Friday. At least this is when you're going to hear it. It's on Friday. So today we're going to be talking all about values. Now, I got to say, I always enjoy recording my podcast. It's fun. I enjoy the study for it. I enjoy researching, thinking about my people and what you might need. I've had a lot of fun getting ready for this one. I've had a lot of fun researching, thinking, studying, and now recording. And I hope you enjoy it. I recently started my very first group coaching program, which I love so much. I love it. It's so much fun. And something we're working on right now is identifying values. So I've been thinking about this a lot. I also had an experience recently where I was worked up about something, and I had a moment in the middle of the night where I woke up and I remembered what my values are, and that the thoughts that I was having were not in alignment with my values. And just like that, I was able to clean up my thinking, step back into alignment with who I wanted to be, who I am, and set those things down. So values have been something that I've been really giving a lot of attention to, and I want to share with you and teach you why they matter. They really, really matter, okay? Listen to the whole thing today. I want you to listen all the way to the end. So today I'm going to talk about what values are, why they matter, how you can use your own values to guide your decision-making process, how to identify what your values are, and how to put them into practice, how to use them, okay? So first of all, the definition I found of values is this: a person's principles or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what is important in life. So values serve as a guide. They serve as guideposts along our journey of life. Values can help dictate behaviors and actions. They can help correct our thoughts, help steer us in the way we want to go. So how many of you have ever had a mentor or a teacher who has helped remind you who you are? You might be going down one path or thinking in a certain way, forgetting who you are, and this mentor kind of whips you back into shape. Maybe it's a coach. Maybe it's a choir teacher or something like that. But somebody who sees you, who helps you remember who you are and calls you to step up into something more. Values can be that for you. Values can be bigger than just you and help you get back in alignment with who you want to be in the world. Values support everything you do in your life, and I'll share more what I mean as I go. Okay, so where do values come from? So at first, values can be taught to us in our homes and in our communities. We may be taught, for example, to value obedience above all else. We may be taught the merits of obedience. We may agree to it unconsciously without giving it a thought. This is just what I do. But as we grow and mature, we may realize that there are things we are giving obedience to that we don't necessarily agree with. It may be a cultural thing that someone thought was a good idea, but no longer is holding up for you. You may feel it come up when your child is getting in trouble at school for challenging political beliefs of a teacher and saying, I disagree. You may get some pushback on your own ideas of obedience. You may want to challenge it, okay? Values can change, or we can keep that value and define it in a way that feels real and true for us. Another example of this is maybe we are taught frugality, be frugal. It may have served us very well in saving money, making the dollar stretch, making things for less than buying them. But we may get to the point where we realize what we actually value is abundance. We value abundance. We want to know that there's always more where that came from, that we can create, money, that we can create resources, trusting our own abilities to be resourceful. That value of frugality may no longer serve us. It may no longer line up with who we want to be. Okay. So, like I said before, values serve as guides, and doing the work of identifying your values requires focused attention. It requires a calm, unbiased mind and a willingness to tell the truth to yourself. This is done from that part of your brain that you hear me talk about, the prefrontal cortex, which is the wisest and most knowing part of our brain. It's a very calm part of our brain. When we identify our values from that place and commit to them, when our higher brain is offline, meaning, let's say we're like panicking about something, our higher brain is like shutting down. We're not accessing that part. We're listening to the toddler brain. Those values can be like the wise older brother or sister that's like, hey, let's check in what's going on and remind us of who we are, who we want to be, and where we're going. Our values can keep us safe. By trusting that we made the values from our wisest selves, we can trust them when things feel hard or even scary. We can trust that that was our most wise self speaking. So, for example, if we get pulled into an old way of thinking about something and identify that it does not line up with our values, we can get ourselves back in check. We can remind ourselves who we are, get our feet back on the ground. Another way values can serve us is in getting out of comparison mode. So, for example, let's say that one person's value, one of her values is cleanliness, okay? So you have this friend, you go to her house, she really highly values cleanliness. It deeply matters to them. We may go to their home and think that we should be more like them and come home and feel bad, like, what's wrong with me? Why does my house not look like hers? Maybe I should care more about how my house looks so it would look more like hers. This is where knowing what your values are really can be helpful. If cleanliness is not one of your values, but creativity is, although you know how to clean, you know how to have a clean home, it may not line up with you to spend a lot of time cleaning. It may be more in alignment with you and bring you more joy and abundance to paint or bake or sew or write. Okay? Now, how can values serve as decision makers? Let me tell you, okay? I'm going to give you some examples from some real clients. One of my clients highly values honesty. She holds herself to a high standard of telling the truth, and she expects it from others. When she found out that her spouse was being less than honest, it came up against her values, and she has asked herself some tough questions. So the question is, does someone else have to have the same values as you for you to stay in a relationship? No, they do not. But you get to decide what you're willing to tolerate. You get to use your own values to gauge, one, how honest you're being. Are you really being honest? Are you really, and I don't mean like lying, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm more talking about, are you really letting your spouse see you? Are you caring more about your feelings than theirs? Meaning, are you not shoving stuff down, hiding things because you're afraid of what they're going to think of how you actually feel? If you value honesty, are you willing to let them see those things, even if it might be uncomfortable? So she can use that value to guide where her own boundaries are around honesty and what she will be willing to do and accept moving forward. Another client values commitment. She's committed to her children. She's committed to her spouse over the years. But when he told her the truth, he said that he'd rather not be committed, that he's only staying because he feels like he has to, even though he doesn't want to. And that does not line up with her values. She wants to be with someone who is all in as she is, because that is who she is. So she's ending the relationship. She's willing to feel temporary discomfort in service of what she wants most, which is fully, I'm in commitment. So, how do you go about identifying your values? I'm going to give you some tips, okay? You might want to get a pen and paper and write some of this down. So, I'm going to ask you some questions and I want you to answer them. If you don't have a pen and paper, you can push pause and think about it, okay? What are some of your favorite ways to spend time? I want you to think about that. How do you like to spend your time? You can pause it while you answer. What are some of the most meaningful things in your life? What are they? And why do they matter to you? Again, you can push pause if you want to take time to answer. What are some of the things you feel passionately about? Not necessarily negative or positive. Could be both. It could be an injustice, a good cause, etc. Why do you have strong emotions around it? Next, what are your favorite movies, quotes, songs? Do you see any themes? So as I was preparing this, I was thinking back to my favorite movies throughout my life. And I remember some of my favorite movies, and they all have a theme. The earliest favorite movie that I can remember was Rocky. I just really liked Rocky. He was strong. He was courageous. The next favorite movie I had was Dead Poet Society with Robin Williams. Love that movie. It's so good. And it's about being courageous, speaking up, challenging the system, right? Courage. Another favorite is Pride and Prejudice. There's strong characters in there, right? Elizabeth Bennet. She's courageous. My favorite book of all time is Jane Eyre. Don't know if you've ever read it. She is one courageous character, very courageous. I had never put that together until I did this study for this episode, that all of my favorites have that theme in common. The heroines are courageous. Do you find any themes? Can you see any themes in the things that you wrote, things that you get fired up about? Now, there are many, many different values that you can pick, okay? I'm going to read some, but there's too many to read. I think it would take too long, but I'll read you some, and I just want you to see if any jump out to you. You can go online and Google list of values, and you'll find other lists. I want you to go do that so you can identify which ones are yours. But here are some examples: accountability, abundance, adaptability, achievement, ambition, acceptance, authenticity, balance, autonomy, beauty or aesthetics, being liked, belief, boldness, bravery, caring, caution, clarity, commitment, confidence, certainty, charity, clarity, community, competitiveness, contribution, curiosity, collaboration, competence, creativity, conviction, courage, determination, diversity, dependability, directfulness, diplomacy, dreaming, duty, efficiency, education, equality, economic security, fun, faith, fairness, financial stability, generosity, happiness, health, individuality, integrity, imagination, leadership, logic, listening, making a difference, impact, justice, kindness, perseverance, personal fulfillment, personal growth, professionalism, reliability, reputation, resilience, mastery, merciful, nurturing, organization, liberation, respect, risk-taking, responsibility, security, service, self-discipline, stability, strength, success, synergy, teamwork, trust, understanding, uniqueness, unity, virtue, vision, wealth, well-being, wisdom. So I just rattled through a whole bunch, and there are more. Okay, there's more. How you might have heard me say it there might be described in a different way, in a word of your own. Okay, now I want you to identify 6 to 10 of your own values. No more. Keep it simple. 6 to 10. Can you look at those values that you've identified and see how they have served a useful purpose for you in the past or in helping you determine where you're going in the future? How? How have they served you? Did you feel any resistance or judgment to the values you identified? Why or why not? Sometimes we might see something or see a value and go, oh, I should pick that. That should be a value. Did you do that at all? Did you have any that you picked that you're like, nah, I shouldn't have that as a value? I want you to set that down and actually pick what feels the most true. If there's something that you wanted to pick and you didn't, go pick it. Okay? How can you just recognize your values without judgment? Can you appreciate what your values are? How will these values help you to set boundaries? Help define what you will say and do. What will you say yes and no to? And determine where you will allow your thoughts to go. So like I said at the beginning of this episode, I had an experience recently where I was given a circumstance that I was having a whole lot of thoughts about. And some doubt came in, a lot of doubt came in. And I was really worked up in doubt and feeling kind of spinning out in it. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I was reminded, Andrea, you're a believer. Belief is one of my core values, belief. You're a believer. And it helped me to notice what I was choosing to think and how it was not in alignment with my core value of belief. So what I did is I got up the next day and I drew a picture. I drew a picture of me, a stick figure, it's very good, with a big circle around me. And inside that circle, I wrote my values and I wrote statements, like I statements along with those. And I'm going to give you some examples here in a second. But I said, I believe. Different things that I believe. I put it into sentence form. And then I put on the outside of the circle some of the thoughts that were creeping in that were no longer welcome inside my circle, that they were not useful, that I could see that they did not get me where I wanted to go. They were not lining up with my values. And so I was able to use my values to clean up my thinking and get back on track with where I actually wanted to go. So I'm going to give you an example of putting it into sentence form, okay? Something I did in preparation for this podcast is I went and looked up different companies and what their values are. It was super fun. Now, one of the companies I looked up was Google. I looked up Google because my first husband worked there. And I got to go on the Google campus several times. And it's pretty awesome. And so I thought, I wonder what their values are where they created such an amazing place to work. So they have 10 sentences. They call them 10 things. And I took the liberty to find the one word value that is in that sentence. Okay, I'm going to show you what I mean. So number one, focus on the user and all else will follow. The value I attach to that is in the individual, like the individual matters. Number two, it's best to do one thing really, really well. I put competence. Number three, fast is better than slow, efficiency. Number four, democracy on the web works, individuality. Number five, you don't need to be at your desk to need an answer, freedom. Number six, you can make money without doing evil, abundance. 7, there's always more information out there, opportunity. 8, the need for information crosses all borders. Education. Number 9, you can be serious without a suit. Fun. Number 10, great just isn't good enough. Excellence. This is what the founders of Google established at the very beginning of their company as what their values are, and they still hold today. Even though they have thousands of employees, that is still what they hold as their values. I'm guessing they use those values as they make decisions of where the company's going to go. That's the same thing I want you to do for you. Values are not just for you. Think bigger. Values are bigger than the individual. They direct where you're going and affect the people around you. We're each a walking representation of ourselves, right? So even if we don't have a big corporation like Google or Amazon or some of these huge companies, you still are representing you. How do you want to be represented? So the last thing I want you to do is I want you to get creative. I want you to think of a creative way of memorizing and displaying your values. I want you to know what they are inside and out. You could make a screensaver and put it on your phone. You could do the same thing I did where you make a visual drawing of what stays in the circle with you and what stays outside. You can get very specific with that. You can write very specific thoughts that do not line up with the values inside the circle. I want you to create something that helps you remember. Get your brain on board. This is who we are. This is what we know. Values strengthen over time. The more that we practice them, the more they become part of our identity. Just like my eye color. My eyes are green. I'm a believer. The more I believe that, the more true it becomes. When that is what is guiding me and guiding my thoughts, it means that it's guiding my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions, and ultimately getting me the results that I want. They steer me where I want to go. Lean into them. Find what your values are, lean into them. So this is what I'm hoping, okay? I love hearing from you. I'm hoping that you will email me at andrea@andreagiles.com and tell me what your values are. I want to hear what you've identified. I want to hear all about it. It's so fun for me to hear from you. So share with me. Tell me what you identified. What are your values? What lights you up? And I sincerely look forward to hearing from you. That's what I've got for you today, my friends. I hope that it's been helpful. Like I said, I've really enjoyed putting this one together for you. And I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast. If you would like to be kept in the know about upcoming free classes, new podcast episodes, and other ways of working with me, go subscribe to my weekly email. You can subscribe at andreagiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. Again, it's andreagiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. I will see you next time.